Oh, come on. Turn on. Ah. Why are you not turning on? Hey team, it's the presenter here, and I am having some issues with my computer. It doesn't seem to be turning on, which is a little bit of a nightmare because I do all of my work on the computer. Although this does give me an idea. It seems like a pretty good opportunity to go through some basic identification and troubleshooting scenarios to use when you are having some connectivity issues with your computer. I guess the first thing I want to try to turn my computer on is to check that the cables are all plugged in, so let's give that a shot, eh? Righty, so I'm just going to check that all of my cables are plugged in. That looks like the power cable over there. That looks like the cable that's going to lead to the router. That looks like the screen. Righty, you got to make sure that this router cable is plugged in if you've not got wireless and you're trying to get onto the internet. Alrighty, let's try turning on my computer again. Here we go. Computer's turning on. Perfect. That was awesome. I identified that I had a problem and sort of was able to come up with a solution which worked. The problem was my computer wasn't working and it wasn't turning on. So what I tried was playing around with the plugs, making sure that everything was plugged in. And then sure enough, the computer turned on. But is that going to work every time? What about if I have a faulty component? Alright? What if, let's say, I'm having a computing issue where my mouse isn't working? So I've got my mouse here and I'm trying to scroll around, do some left clicking, possibly even some right clicking, and nothing's working. Well, the first thing I'm going to try is swapping out the mouse to see if it is actually a hardware problem. So what I want to do is I want to unplug the mouse from the back of my computer. Okay, unplugged. Then I want to get my new mouse and I want to plug it gently into the back of the computer to test that. Okay? So that now when I test my mouse, it works. So it looked like it was a hardware fault because by changing out the mouse, it now works. Sometimes we're going to run into some simple hardware faults. Occasionally, coming from the big box that is your computer, you may hear a beep. It'll sound like this. Beep. And it might repeat like this. Beep. 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 And it'll be really weird because it's not like coming from your speakers or anything like that. It's actually beeping inside the computer. This is an error message from the computer saying, hey, I'm not doing so well. And one way to easily check what the problem is in this case is to actually just touch your computer box to see if it's warm. And when we touch it, If it feels really hot, that means that your computer is overheating. And that means you just want to check the air vents and make sure that nothing is obstructing them, causing the computer to heat up unnecessarily. If that doesn't work, just turn off your computer and give it a break. Another simple hardware problem is that when you turn your computer on, it gets stuck in this weird sort of a loop, like a restart loop where it tries to restart and then stops, and then tries to restart and then stops. This is often the fault of your RAM. Okay, now RAM is a type of memory, and sometimes it can just get a little funky. So when this happens, what you want to do is you want to start your computer in safe mode. And what safe mode does is it sort of reboots your RAM, okay, that piece of hardware, and gets it running nicely again. So it is a lot more complicated than that, but for the case of just troubleshooting and identifying issues, safe mode's a pretty safe bet to start with if you're having trouble restarting your computer or it won't turn on. So what you want to do is this. Depending on what type of computer you're using, Mac and PC are a little bit different. I'm running with a PC, so the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to press the Windows key and I'm going to hold that down with Control, Shift and B. And if I hold those and let them go, because I really don't want to start it in safe mode just yet, that will start the computer up in safe mode and will help to just re-jog your RAM a little bit. Let's say we try to get onto the internet. We want to go and check our social media profiles, or go on to like an uploady website where we can go and look at some memes or some jokes, and we get this notification: there is no internet connection. This is a nightmare. The world runs on the internet now. What do? Well, there's a few things that we can do. We want to try and restart our device. It's not just your computer that may run out of internet or not connect to the internet. Sometimes your phone or your iPad will do it too. The first step is restart the device. So, this is the classic off and on again. May take a little while. It's a bit of an old cell phone. I've had it for about 5 or 6 years. Maybe about 5. 5 years is a long time for a cell phone, especially with these new smartphones. So we can still see, I'm going to cut this to when it turns on again. It's turned on. But what if that doesn't work? What do we do then? Well, then it might be time to check your modem. Your next bet is to check your modem. Now, your modem is the box that all of your internet cables connect into. Some large organizations don't have small modems like this. They have quite large ones. But you just want to check the lights on it, especially if it's just one at home. If you've got a full array of green lights, you're fine. If you've got some red lights or orange blinky lights, that means that it could be a connection issue with your modem. If that's the case, you want to go around to the back of the modem and just do a hardware restart, so off and on again. If that doesn't work, it's time to contact your internet provider, because something might be going on their end that they need to fix, and this does often happen. And if all of that fails, it's time to open up your internet troubleshooting program, okay? Now you'll usually be able to find that your bottom right hand corner of your screen. You'll see, if I can find my mouse, something that looks like this little icon here. Little computer with a cord next to it. If you click on that and go into your options, and now this is definitely going to be different for every organization, every type of hardware, all of that sort of thing, you'll open your troubleshooting program. And all you have to do is hit troubleshoot problems. And that will go through and give you a list of possible connection problems, and you just go through, click on each one and follow the instructions. More likely than not, you're going to find and fix your problem. Now, let's say you try to print something off and your computer says, nah, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. I've run out of something. I assume that that's how printers talk. I've never heard a printer talk, but it'd be cool if they did. Sometimes your printer's going to run out of paper or even ink, and it'll come up with a little message on the display, or you'll even be able to see it with an alert on your computer. When that happens, just grab some more paper, open up the tray, pop it in. That's all you have to do when you run out of paper with the printer. If you run out of ink, you just open up the ink tray, and the printer or your computer will tell you what sort of ink you need to change out. Just twist, pull it out, put the new ink cartridge in, and you're done. So, dealing with your printer is nice and easy. Sometimes, during your digital journeys, whether it be on a PC or an iPad, a tablet, smartphone, whatever it is you're using, even your gaming system at home, you may get a virus. Now, viruses can be truly awful because they can just wreck your day in terms of connectivity to the internet, destroying your personal files. When this happens, you want to use some system protection software or system maintenance software. And this is software that you install on your computer, and it offers you a little bit of protection against things like viruses or malware, stuff like that. How it works is it continually monitors your computer, and it's got detections. So if you manage to accidentally download a virus or something dodgy like that from the internet, it'll often identify that little bit of code in your download as a virus, and a lot of times it'll just in the background get rid of it. Sometimes it will prompt you to do something. The software, it'll say, hey, this file has been identified as having a virus. You should delete it, and then you go ahead and delete it. Sometimes you'll want to just manually run something through your protection software. Okay, if you think you've got a virus that hasn't been detected, you can do that. To do that, you open up your programs directory and you find the correct software. So I run with Symantec Endpoint Protection. Open that up, click on the program, and you go ahead and follow the instructions. So if you're having some hardware trouble or some connectivity issues due to something like a virus, That'll sort it out. Sweet as. Let's say we're trying to do something like connect an external piece of hardware to our PC. So we're trying to put in something like an external hard drive, a USB, or even just plug in a camera. And we get a message like this: cannot install or open the files in the external piece of hardware because your driver has failed. Well, your driver is the piece of software, the program that's on external pieces of hardware like USBs, cameras, smartphones, external hard drives, that when you plug them into the USB slot on your computer, it allows the computer to recognize and utilize those pieces of hardware, those external devices. Now when you're plugging these in, sometimes we may be a little bit careless or may accidentally knock it, or it may not get a good connection within the USB slot. That means that the driver's not going to have really a good chance to be utilized by your PC or your Mac, your computer. And that means that you're going to get a message that says, hey, I don't know what this device is. You can't use it. Your first port of call is just to try plugging in the device again, okay? Like this. Okay, so you get your external hard drive and you just try and plug it into the USB once again, okay? And make sure you get a good connection, and that will hopefully give your driver a good chance to let your computer use your hard drive. If that doesn't work, you may want to open the properties box of your external device. And if the driver on the external device is not working, you'll actually be able to, from here, there'll be a tab that's called drivers, and you hit uninstall and then follow the instructions from there. Then all you do, off and on your computer, okay, just give it a restart, try again. Sometimes there'll be some security issues around an external piece of hardware or device. You may not actually be allowed to use the USB that you've tried, okay? And if that's the case, if you go into security, you'll be able to see it pretty quick, you'll be denied. If that's the case, you've just got to go to whoever's the admin or the owner of the external piece of hardware and ask them to change the settings so you can use it. Let's say you have a picture. It's an important work picture and you're trying to share it. You try and share it on the cloud or in your server, just with some colleagues, and it's not working. Let's say it says you can't connect to the server. What's that likely to mean? That's likely to mean that you don't have internet access to be able to connect to that server or that cloud sharing service. I was about to say surface. It would have been weird. Might actually be a bit weirder that I'm explaining this. Anyway, with that lack of internet connection, you won't be able to share remotely. You won't be able to even attach it to an email and flick it away. So you've just got to remember back to how we try and get our internet connectivity back, You try and turn it off and on, you check your modem, or you go and check your internet connection through the troubleshooting software. And if you're having even more trouble than that can fix, maybe if the person's in the same room as you or in the same organization, what you can do, just bang that photo, that image, onto a USB and take it to them. that would be a pretty nice and easy way to locally share it. Cool? To round this video out, I have to say that we can't fix every connectivity or hardware problem on our digital devices. Sometimes there's something wrong that we just cannot fix, okay? And if that's the case, if we can't figure it out, we actually have to go and report the issue or escalate the problem. So, we bring someone else to help fix it. In our training organizations, we may have an IT expert. If you can't figure out your problem, bring them in to help. Okay, they may have some ideas, have a different thought about how it could be fixed, and that may fix the issue. If that doesn't, however, it's time to report the issue to the people who own the software. So let's say you're working on a Microsoft Office product. You can report issues to Microsoft so that they may be able to fix it or come up with a solution for you. Maybe that reporting goes to another software developer or the people that actually make the hardware. If it's a hardware fault, send them an email or a phone call. They may have a fix for you. They may have a solution. We don't have to struggle, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. We can report the problem, ask for help, right? Because I'm not a person that knows everything about computers. I still need help occasionally. When I can't find the answer that I'm looking for online, I quite often like to go and look at forums and things like that, see if someone else has had the same problem and follow their instructions on how they manage to fix their digital device. 9 times out of 10 that works, but it's that 1 time out of 10 where you need to report it, okay? Well, I hope that this video has helped show you how to identify some issues with your digital devices, given you an idea of a couple of basic fixes or how to go and get the help that you need. Anyway, my throat's getting a bit dry, so I'm going to go and get a glass of water. So you have a good one. Good luck with your assessment. Presenter out.